Greetings, greetings, greetings. Did I make it? Did I make it on time? Did I make it on time? I think I did. What is it? 3:31 Eastern Standard Time. Greetings to the Conscious Collective. I told you that we had two transit today, so we're back for the second transit, and that is Mercury enters Sagittarius. The earlier transit was last half moon. What was the other transit we did just a couple hours ago? Let me bring it up really quick. Last quarter moon, Orion and Arcturian. So that probably explains why we still have this Arcturian energy in the transit reading, because it's still part of that energy cycle. But today we're going to be looking at Mercury enters Sagittarius, and unlike your traditional reading, we are not too concerned with Mercury or Sagittarius. We're more concerned with the Arcturian energy in this reading and the Lyran energy. So we'll be tapping into that Lyran energy and and the Arcturian energy in this reading of Mercury entering Sagittarius. All right. And then we're going to go over a message from the Arcturian Collective to those who have Arcturian space or energy. And we're also going to go over to talk to get a message from, I'm trying to get the right name, the Lyran High Council. Each Starseed has a particular council that they receive messages from. And so I wanted to make sure I got the correct name for that. I said earlier in the earlier reading why I get so excited about these readings. Again, they are the way that the universe communicates. We can see in the ancient times, in the monuments they built, they were all concerned with connecting with higher source through the universe and looking at the stars and reading the energy. Only in recent time are we fascinated by buildings and structures and enclosing man inside a facility as opposed to communicating with the universe, with God, with source in openness and in its actual creation. People always say, well, God, this is the written word of God. No, it's a man wrote that. Well, he was inspired by God. Now you're moving the ball, right? But we do know planets, stars, a waterfall, grass, all these things weren't created by us. There's no middle ground in that. We know we did not create those in the sense of us, human beings, okay? But a man did write a book, okay? I don't care if he wrote the book. The book was interpreted from his hand, wrote it, but he didn't set the stars into place. He didn't set the moon into place. So which one would you rather believe? Which one would you rather try to connect with? Something written or something actual that is perceived in the universe? And so that's why we do these transit. That's why we try to decipher the energy, and we try to get understanding, because that's the clearest way of connecting with divine source. All ancient people knew this. Ancient people did not build temples to go inside. Even the pyramids were not made to go inside. They were made to mark the movement of the constellations. Okay? Everything was made to observe the outward, not the inward of the building. All right? We're not talking about you being part of, we're just talking about of the structure. So you'll always hear people try to build these structures as a way of connecting with source, with God, with divine spirit, but that is really ass backwards, because all that connection is outside. Even in their own scriptures, you see where they made Adam and Eve, if we were to take that literally, in a garden. They didn't make them in a building and put them in a building, made them in a garden. And it says, even in their own belief system, God walked through the garden in the cool of the day. God walked through the garden in the cool of the day. Okay? Not God came out of a building. God went into a building. That's a man idea. All right? So if you really want to connect with something higher than yourself, something greater than yourself, you need to look outside, not inside. All right, go into nature. We're so removed from that. We are so removed from that. So during these transits, we try to connect with that once again. We try to understand that, and we apply our starseed characteristics and traits to that. So today we're going to be looking at the Arcturians, right? And we are going to be looking at the Lyrans. Again, we're looking at these characteristics and these traits that apply to these different starseed species. Not to say that you are an alien in the meaning of the word, but to say that you have these characteristics and traits that apply to that. So as we look at these two, we're going to apply these characteristics to the reading of Mercury enters Sagittarius. So if you want some more clarity, please check out the other link that we did earlier. And it was, I don't know why I keep slipping my mind. It was last quarter moon, Orion and Arcturian. And we're still working with Arcturian energy in this sense. So Mercury enters Sagittarius. The mind breaks open and truth demands movement. Truth demands action. Now, the complete readings are on the Patreon page that tells you the colors, the crystals, and the chakras. If you really want to get more in depth in the reading, please tap into the Patreon page and get more meaning into that, what these readings mean and how to activate them in your own life. These readings, these instructions in these transits are bringing you up to a higher level of consciousness and connecting you to a more powerful version of yourself. So as we look at this truth demands movement or truth demands action, I think that's very profound. A lot of times we want to speak truth without action. A lot of times we want our words to be the end result. But sometimes, your words have to be followed up by action. So this transit is encouraging you that truth demands movement. So when Mercury, the planet of thought, speech, learning, and perception, let's get off this really quick, steps into Sagittarius, the collective mind expands, curiosity widens, broad ideas rise, small thinking dissolves. Mercury in Sagittarius speaks in vision, not detail, in philosophy, not fear, in destiny, not limitation. This current transit, Mercury entering Sagittarius, brings mental clarity, truth-telling, spiritual insight, prophetic understanding, and a surge of purpose and direction. We all know as Starseeds, we are all about life purpose, life mission. What are we here for? A lot of us are not doing exactly what we came here for because we're caught up in the physicality of being here, but this passes. And you're going to go back and realize you didn't fulfill your soul contract and have to rewrite it and come back again. It is best to understand what your soul contract is now so you can complete the purpose in your mission and you don't have to repeat this life again. You can move on to your higher self. This may be our last time as human beings before we move to ascended mastery. I think a lot of us are here for this last lesson, and then we move on to our higher states of being after this. If you think that you just die and go to heaven or hell, this is probably not the life for you. This is probably not the place for you. All right. If you want to believe that, then knock yourself out. If you want to believe like the Mormons believe, or the Jehovah's Witness or or Catholics or whatever, this is probably not for you. For those that are starseeds, we understand we come with a purpose and a mission and things that we need to accomplish. Me being a Blu-ray, I am walking in my purpose and my mission of working with the collective and trying to give them higher understanding. So for starseed, it awakens the mission mind, the part of you that remembers why you are incarnated here, all right, your eternal being, and how your voice is meant to shape consciousness. All right, how you speak is what you create. As you say, it is. The energy, this energy of this transit strongly activates your Lyran. The Lyran starseeds are Arcturian starseeds. Now, I have to keep explaining why we choose two starseeds. All right, these starseeds are the one that's most related to the current energy. So whether it's the half moon or Neptune going direct, or Mercury in retrograde, or Mercury enters Sagittarius, right? Those are the planetary movement. But we look at what starseed energy is mostly connected with that, so we have a better understanding of how we're supposed to move and what's supposed to be going on during this time. All right. So this energy of this transit activates Lyran starseeds and Arcturian starseeds, who carry the codes of sovereignty, soul sovereignty, truth, wisdom, and cosmic intelligence. Soul sovereignty is a pillar of being a starseed. Truth, wisdom, and divine intelligence. So let's look at the Lyran starseed. Oh, deja vu. I just felt like I experienced this. Not like I did it earlier, but like I just experienced this. Deja vu just hit me. Probably another dimensional overlap. All right. So Lyran starseeds speak with the fire of original. This transit activates the Lyran starseeds because they are ancient truth keepers and original fires of galactic wisdom. We always say Lyrans are very, I hate to use the word aggressive, but they tend to be very, I don't know how to explain it. Not scary, but very strong, have very strong personalities. All right. Mercury and Sagittarius amplifies their natural gifts of courage. That's a good word of describing it. Conviction. Okay. Their leadership and desire to liberate minds through truth. Lions are very courageous and convicted in liberating minds through truth. The Mercury entering Sagittarius transit encourages Lions to express themselves fully, break free of silence or self-doubt, and speak from their soul authority. Speak from your soul authority. Speak from your truth. What's going on here? As I said earlier, soul authority is a pillar of being a starseed. We believe strongly in your soul sovereignty. And that is something that actually helps you understand whether you choose to follow a path or not. It is that soul authority that you give yourself. So let's move into this message. I should have had this up as we was talking about it. Let's move into the message from the Lyran High Council. Okay. Do not fear the power of your voice. Truth is not a weapon. It is illumination. What you say now carries the weight of your lineage. Let your words burn away confusion and open new paths. That is a message from the Lyran High Council. Quick note on the Lyrans. And I just had to make a note of this. Let me make sure I say it right. Lyrans, Lyran, are from the Vega star system, specifically a planet named Lyra. So sometimes you'll see them, you see the word Lyra, it's the name of the planet. Lyran is the name of the star seed. And I think people get confused by that. I wanted to make a quick note of that, even to reinforce it in my own mind, that those are two different things, okay? So let's look at the Arcturians. We looked at the Arcturians earlier in our reading regarding the last quarter moon. And so if you want to see that video is up and running. You can click back on the live and look at the Arcturian reading that we received there. We do full readings on the Patreon page. So if you want to have a full message read, that's on the Patreon page. Right now, we're just doing the short readings in the lives, but the Patreon page is where you can get more in depth, and we'll put more information about the Starseeds. So I have the video channel, the YouTube main channel, where I discuss a lot of broader topics. Then I have this channel here, the lives, where I just do the transit readings, okay? And then we have the Patreon, where you can really get more and more in depth into your starseed type and have a better understanding of that. This is almost like taking zodiac signs and putting it in power boost. This is going to give you a more in-depth understanding of who you truly are. All right, you may have some characteristics in regards to different zodiac signs, but your soul traits and characteristics come from your star seed. If you are a star seed, not everyone is a star seed, but if you are a star seed, this is very important for you to understand. Okay, so we look at Arcturian star seeds, expanding the mind, decoding the infinite. All right, this transit, and we're talking about the Mercury inter-Sagittarius transit. Arcturians thrive on higher knowledge, philosophy, metaphysics, and decoding complex spiritual patterns. We talked about that earlier. But let's make a quick note. Since we talked about the Lyrans coming from the Vegas constellation from a planet named Lyra, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Well, let's look at the Arcturians. I want to do a little research on Arcturians. Where do Arcturians come from? Oh, that come from the star system Arcturus, Arcturus. That's the star system Arcturus. The advanced beings from a higher dimension like the fifth who help humanity evolve. I think this is a good opportunity to talk about different dimensions, because Arcturus are in another fifth dimension. They're not in 3 dimension as we are. All right, they are in 5th dimension. So as you raise your consciousness, you interact with more star seeds, and people have to understand that they only operate. That they think we only operate on 3 dimensions. You operate there are actually 12 dimensions. Some people say there may be more, but each dimension has a level of different entities on there. And as you evolve your consciousness, you can move back and forth to do different dimensions. But the Taurus can come down to the 3D dimension and help us evolve up to a higher dimension. Not all star seeds exist on this plane of dimension. See, when we're doing this work of expanding our consciousness and having better understanding of star seeds and light working, you have to understand that not only has your mind has to expand upward, your mind also has to expand linear or width wise. Okay, so if you're just thinking on one level of just raising your consciousness, you have to understand that you have to expand your consciousness too. And so to understand these different star seeds and light workers and to get a better understanding of it, is actually raising your consciousness. All right. And it gives you a more soul authority of who you are. When you realize the kind of characteristics and traits that you have that relates to higher beings, you move differently too. Okay. When you understand, I want to do a video on not genealogy, but starology. I think I'm gonna do a video called Starology and how that's so powerful in understanding who you are. Like when you do your genealogy and you really understand your family roots and the people that came before you and how you are the descendant of of your grandfather, your great grandfather, your grandmother, your great great grandmother, that gives you some type of power. That gives you some type of strength, knowing that you come from a long line of whatever they may be. The same is in the starology of understanding that you're a star seed and your traits and characteristics that gives you power too. When you understand why you feel different, why you don't fit in, why things don't just make sense to you, why you just don't go along to get along. When I moved down to Savannah and coming from up north from Chicago, I was very shocked by the passiveness of people in the South. Especially and I understand why. I mean, when you have people riding up on you and burning you and hanging you, yeah, you're gonna be very passive after a while if you can't fight back. But I was very shocked about the passiveness, and I asked the guy, and he just said, "Well, we just go along to get along." And so that doesn't work well with starseeds, light workers. See, when you say a light worker is someone who works to bring the light by being the light. Okay, there's also shadow workers too, but let's say light workers, they become the light and people are drawn to them. But how can you be a light worker if you don't know who you are? If you don't have an understanding of who you are, how can you be a help to anyone? How can you help anyone? So that's why we say the work is always on yourself. It's not so much going and testifying and knocking on doors and trying to tell people, have you heard the good news? You know, it's about you working on yourself and being a light for people to say, why are you so calm? Why do you operate like that? Why do you move in that space? Or you get to actually a being where when you walk into a place, the place becomes peaceful. The place becomes calm. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. As you evolve into this knowledge, you actually move into a crystalline being. Say you understand that you're a starseed, that you're a Arcturian, that you're Lyran, that you are, any number of the 21 or 20 starseeds, right? That you actually evolve into something higher. You become a crystalline being. And we're going to have conversations about being crystalline beings too, because crystalline beings operate with a lattice that allows them to connect with different starseeds and different starseed types. Why is that important? Because a lot of starseeds and starseed types are in their own bubble. And so because of the way humanity has developed, we can take on a lot of different starseed types and energies and be that bridge between different starseeds. Because they're in their bubbles, but we bring peace to the universe because we see it from each perspective. Well, that's way beyond. Let's just get to the part of just understanding that some of us are different in specific ways. So did we do the Arcturian Starseeds reading? Arcturian Starseeds expand their mind, decode the infinite. Arcturians thrive on higher knowledge, philosophy, metaphysics, and decoding complex spiritual patterns. With Sagittarius expands Mercury's logic into divine understanding, Arcturians feel a surge in intuitive intelligence. Right now, you're feeling yourself. You're smart as hell right now. If you are in that Arcturian energy, or if you got any Arcturian energy in you, yeah, you just catching on to things right now. Intuitively intelligent, that visionary insight. You're seeing things like people are just shocked because you're seeing you're seeing things before they even finish. You are actually seeing the completion of something before it even gets started during this transit, right? Psychic interpretation. Your clairvoyance is on point. You're understanding. I always say that really to understand your dreams and messages, you have to do a lot of work normally, a lot of personal growth, a lot of clearing of trauma and clearing your energy to really tap into things. But during this transit is going to aid you to have that ability. It's almost going to be like, what's that stuff they put in toilets? Crystal Drano or something like that, where you just going to be clear. higher learning. All right, you're going to be able to tap into some higher learning. This transit is a period where Arcturians may experience sudden downloads, clarity on mission, and new spiritual frameworks. If you're rocking with that Arcturian energy at any type of energy, and that's not to say that you have all the 21 or 19 starseeds characteristics and traits through you, but you might have, 4 or 5, 6 or 7, and you feeling this reading. Okay, you're getting this reading. So let's look what the message from the Arcturian collective says. Your mind is stretching beyond its limit, allowing new truths to arrive without resistance. You are not thinking, you are remembering. Let the expansion guide your next step. I want to really emphasize that. We think we are thinking, but you're just remembering things. We think we're learning things, but you're just remembering things, okay? So that is a narrative you're going to hear over and over again in Starseeds as you start to accept more of your Starseed characteristics and traits. Again, the complete readings, messages, and from the Arcturian Starseeds or the Lyran High Council, I usually put them on Patreon. I may put a few more on Patreon. I've also, I do those personal readings, messages. I expand on the crystals, the colors, and the chakras that you need to be working with during this transit. If you really want to work to clearing that energy out, so you become more of a pure vessel of enlightenment, right? There are certain colors you can wear during this transit. There's crystals you can be very, you can work with, okay? And there's particular chakras that you can work with. And all that is put on the Patreon page. So I hope what I said resonates with you in your life journey and helps you during this transit. As usual, if you have any questions, please reach out. Please write in a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I want to wish everyone love and light in their journey.